flipping over my thing. Oh God, they charged my card.
All right, boom. I started. I've got on the thing now. So we're recording, yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Dream it, believe it, become it. I am honored to be joined today by former world title challenger and former British champion, Ashley the Treasure Theophane. Ash, what's going on, man?
I'm all good, Spence. I'm all good. How are you?
I'm blessed, man. Blessed. Even better for speaking to you because, like, we've got some juicy things coming up right now. The announcement of Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua is a big thing. Yeah. Everyone's talking about that. Which I will touch on with you. But the major thing that I want to touch on is Errol Spence, Terence Crawford, because I speak to a lot of people and a lot of people's minds are changing like the wind. One day they're heavily for Terence Crawford, the next day they're heavily for Errol Spence, then they're in the middle. I mean, you've done some work with Errol Spence in the past. How do you see this fight going?
Oh yeah, so I sparred with Spence like 10 years ago. It's 10 years ago now. We sparred twice, just over a space of like 3 days. We done around 10 rounds together. And it was going into the week of his fight. And even then, you spar someone. I had sparred him after he had done the great sparring with Floyd. So even then I knew this guy can fight. You know what I mean? And at that time, I was still trying to get onto TMT. So some of the guys like Boza. So Boza, he asked me if I could do some rounds of this young man.
Well, you're talking about Boza Edwards,
my man,
the former super featherweight world champion. That's who you're talking about.
Yes. So Boza was always cool with me. So he said, to get this young guy some work before he has before he has his fight. So we sparred, and Spence was, what I would say, like, just going in there, he was very, even though I was light welterweight anyway, but he was very big for a welterweight. He was very big, and he was measured as well. Even as a young man, this is 10 years ago we sparred. Even as a young man, like, he was so smart and just trying to measure me and just time me. He was very calm with his approach. So we done 10 rounds together, and I think one of them it's on YouTube or whatever, and you can even see there. I'm just trying to be careful because he was a big guy. He was strong, and he was very, very good. Like, even after the first time we sparred, I done all right, and I was like, he's gonna go on to become world champion because I could even see it there. He was special. This guy, this guy was a force. Like, and he was just so young. He had a good jab, and his timing was very good, just trying to break you down. He reminded me of Mike McCallum.
For real?
Another Jamaican.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He reminded me of Mike McCallum.
Just the wrong way around because it's a southpaw, but yeah, he's very tenacious. So, like, he's got this big fight coming up now. Like, how do you see this fight going?
Because the same thing that I just heard you say. Because I remember a few years ago, like some guys are like, Crawford will win. I have to be honest, I haven't watched a lot of Crawford.
He's very good.
I'm always going to be a bit biased because I've sparred with Spence. I've been in the ring with him, so I know firsthand how good he is. And one thing that I've heard what Spence said, that the people they've fought against, the same guys, Crawford has done better with them, but he's fought them at the tail end of their career when they just wanted some like money before their retirement. So just going off that, like, Crawford may have done better, but like Spence, he's got the size on him. Even though he had the car crash, we don't know if that will play effect in it, but he's bounced back and he just looks in great shape now. So to me, it's a 50-50 fight. But if I had to pick someone to win, I'm gonna go with Errol Spence. He just looks like they both believe in themselves, but he looks in great shape, and he could have gone up because he's obviously he finds it hard to make the weight. He's been at the weight for like his whole career, so he could have gone up, but he stayed here because he knows that this fight is a legacy fight. And I just kind of side with him, but I do think it's a 50-50 fight. It's a great fight.
What do you think of things that you say you haven't watched a lot of Terence Crawford? I've watched a lot of Terence Crawford.
Yeah.
Terence Crawford to me brings more to the table than Errol Spence. Right? I think he can do more things than Errol Spence. But when it comes to that toughness and that methodically moving forward, kind of like Marvin Hagler, like methodically moving forward and methodically letting your hands go, Errol Spence is that guy. And he has that they both got dog in them. This is an excellent fight. And I think the whole of boxing needed this fight more than any other fight. You talk about Fury, Usyk, no disrespect, yeah? No one's not interested in that fight. Right? I'm going to be real with you. No, it's not like, oh, what do you mean?
Well, I think not to be disrespectful to Usyk, but I think a lot of us think it'll be a great fight, but Tyson's supposed to win that. I think a lot of people like, it's a great fight, it's got to go down, but majority of us would say that Tyson's supposed to win that. With this fight, like, even if you're on either side, this fight can go either way. You can't say 100%.
You can't.
Man is
You can't. Even though certain people they'll speak to me with some great conviction in favor of Terence Crawford, but when I go and watch, I'll be like today. I just sent Sean Porter a message. I was watching Sean Porter's fight against Terence Crawford, and Sean Porter fought amiably. He was on it, bro. Yeah. I mean, Sean Porter was on it. To the fact that
Sean Porter was in it until his dad stopped the fight, until he got, he was supposed to be in there in the fight.
Well, I think it was after 8 rounds they told Terence Crawford, like, right, you're behind on points, He said, for real, and then he started to step it up.
Yeah.
But not only that, but Sean Porter he's a throwback fighter. His style, he would fit perfectly in the 50s. How he fights.
Again, I sparred many rounds with Sean before he was world champ, because he was at the TMT gym for a while, and we used to do loads of rounds together. So he was one of those guys, and his dad behind him as well. Anytime you got in the ring with him, it was going to be hard work. He was one of those guys. He's just there. Same thing you say, the throwback. You could say like the Marvin Hagler thing. He's in there, he's a dog, like he's coming there to fight. So same thing with Sean, you're not gonna get an easy night's work with him. So and that's why I say that Spence beat him in his prime. In his prime, I think he may have done even better against Crawford. Because like that was at the very, very end of his
it was because after that fight he retired. After that fight he retired.
So that was his last fight.
Yeah, it was his last fight.
And he went in, and his dad knew he went into that fight knowing that was his last fight. So from when you go into your fight, you go into this fight knowing it's your last fight, you don't have that real dog in you, like willing to go, So his dad protected him because he knew he wasn't 100% prepared for it, and he wasn't 100% in his mind for it, because you already know you could do everything, but if you come to a stage in your career from when your mind taps out, like you can't go through what you have to go through to win that fight.
100%. Yeah, I mean, so we've cleared up that. I'm gonna go to this Anthony Joshua Dillian Whyte fight. Like, I mean, they got a press conference coming up now, and they've got. I think this was a fight desperately needed by DAZN. And I've told everyone this is for the heavyweight championship of the hood. That's what. Period. Right? And anybody trying to say anything else don't know how this is, because it seems like Dylan cuts his own hair these days because he has some more Hulk and all the rest of it, right? But you can't go barbershop if you lose this fight. It's one of them ones there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see Andy Joshua going sliders. You can't go sliders if you go lose this fight.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, I think this, a lot of fans like, oh, we won't watch this fight. We won't watch the fight. They're going to watch this fight because both men, with White, he lost to Fury. With AJ, he lost to Usyk twice. They're both on the comeback trail, and they both want those big fights again. So as much as the fans say, oh, it's not a fight we want, this would be a good fight because they both need this win to get back in the big fights. And we already know that AJ is supposed to fight like Wilder at the end of the year. So he definitely needs to look good to bounce back, to make that fight like AJ's back. So I think it's a great fight for both guys. And with both guys there, I'll say this here, they should have went to America, both of them, a long, long time ago. I'm glad they're there now. I'm glad they're both there now. They're doing camp in America. Like they should have been doing camp in America long, long time ago. So I'm glad to see them both there now. And so they're both going to be getting those old tricks and those old tips. You know what I mean? So I think the camps over there will do them both well. And as you say, regardless of where they are in their career now, this fight's going to be a good fight because they both don't want to lose it. Like, you know what I mean? They both need to win it.
How do you see that fight going, Ash?
They both fought the same guy last, didn't it?
Jermaine Franklin.
Demetrius Salita guy. Yeah. So my guy used to spar as well. Demetrius Salita, he's doing his thing as a promoter now. They both didn't look great against him. I did what, so that says a lot about him, that he's pretty good himself. So I think that AJ would be the favorite going into this fight because he fought better with White's fight. A lot of people thought he lost it. Like everyone knew that AJ won his one, but White was like, "Oh, I won the fight." But a lot of people thought he lost the fight. A lot of people. I messaged you after. A lot of people thought he lost the fight. So yeah. So I'm going into the fight. I think the advantage or the favorite going into this fight is AJ. He won their first fight as well, but White has a lot to prove. So it's not a walk in the park for AJ, and they both want to beat each other. So and even though White's still like, yeah, like I beat you with the amateurs, but you know what I mean? Like that's
it's unpaid rent.
No one cares about that. No one cares about that now. Yeah. But it's still there. That fire between them is still there, going back to the amateurs. So it's gonna be a great fight. So I think AJ has the advantage going into the fight, but he's also got a lot of pressure on him as well. So you know what I mean? It is a good fight, man. And I think both of them need this fight because whoever wins this fight will launch, the confidence will go again, and it's a good fight for either man going into their next fight.
You know what, Ash? I'm looking forward to this fight because I know, like I said, this got the hood talking. Right, yeah. It's got the hood talking. I think Eddie Hearn's very smart in making this fight, simply because you lost the Canelo to PBC. You're thinking, right, people trying to say I've taken my eyeball off of British boxing. Let me show you what I want. I'm gonna show you I ain't lost the eye on this. This is a fight that is very juicy, and they're having it at the O2. And people saying, well, this could be a stadium fight. Dylan Whyte was saying this could be a stadium fight, but the time duration of it becoming a stadium fight is totally different. And then also, you couldn't really risk it on that. Like a packed out O2 and how the O2 will be Ramo for this fight, I think is justification to their drawn. Plus, it's on London patch, and even though AJ is Watford, but you're still relatively a Londoner. You know what I mean? It's two London guys doing their thing. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a great fight because I think they're both going to bring out the best in each other, right? And two men who are slightly tail end of their career usually make good fights. You know what I mean? George Foreman, Ron Lau in 76, bad boy fight. Both of them weren't champions, but the way they fought, they gave us a championship fight. That was a bad boy fight. So I think we're gonna get the same. I think we're gonna get the same thing with this fight here. It's gonna be a bad boy fight, and not only that, neither of them. This is why I know how hard they're gonna fight, because neither of them could take to lose to another guy. They couldn't take. AJ can't afford to lose to Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte cannot afford to lose to Anthony Joshua. More of a mental thing as well. I think, I ain't losing. This is gonna make them train hard. This man's gonna, I mean, they're gonna be out running and drinking their milk. They're gonna be on this. So it's gonna be a great, intriguing fight. And lastly, Mr. Theophane, I've seen that you're doing a lot of community work now. You've got your treasure boxing stuff that you're doing, and you're working in conjunction with Westminster Council and doing stuff. Just tell the listeners of The Fight Is Right exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, you know what? I thought today it's going great. I've been doing this since I retired now, but since COVID and everything. So for 2 years, I've been in like Brent community, like Westminster, like Kensington and Chelsea. And over the last 2 years, we've like had like over 1,000 women, kids, young people like come through our doors and do our classes. So we do camps for kids and free school meals and everything, man. So it's kind of great to end my career and then give back to communities like I came from, and to help these kids, man. So it's great to see what my club's doing in just 2 years. We're having such an impact in our communities, man. So I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing in retirement, man. Just trying to just work with these kids and just help these kids and try to get some kids off the streets and some kids to make sure they never go into the streets and do stuff. So it's trying to create a safe place for a lot of these kids from like communities who don't have a lot of stuff, and they can get pulled into doing like things we don't want them to do. So I'm enjoying this next stage of my career, man. It's good. It's good.
That's fantastic, man. You should be commended for all of your great work. Thank you so much for the insight that you've given over to us, Ashley Treasure, on your spars with Errol Spence, your thoughts on the Dillian Whyte and the Joshua fight. I mean, thank you so much for blessing The Fight Is Right. Dream it, believe it, become it. Come on up. Big up Ashley, the Treasure Theophane. Big up, Ash. Yes.
All right.